This week, something really shifted in the AI world. It wasn't just another flashy model dropping. Nope, this was something bigger, something way more fundamental about where this whole thing is going. And really, it all boils down to this one question. For what, the last couple of years? It's all been about bigger is better, right? Building these massive, super powerful AI models. But, and this is the big but, we're starting to figure out that just raw power isn't always the answer. Because the new frontier, the race that's really heating up now, it's all about one word: efficiency. We're talking about making AI faster, cheaper, and just more practical for you and me to use, like every single day. All right, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to trace this whole evolution. We'll kick things off with Google's latest move, then check out how this focus on efficiency is shaking up the stock market. After that, we'll look at the hardware crunch it's causing and wrap it all up with the ultimate goal here: a personal AI agent for, well, everyone. All right, let's get into it. Our first big piece of evidence for this whole shift comes straight from Google. And man, it perfectly shows this pivot from just raw power to, practical everyday performance. So this whole story revolves around Google's brand new image model, which they're calling Nano Banana 2. And to really get why this is such a huge deal, you gotta see how fast we got here. So think about this. Just back in October, we got the original model. It was revolutionary, right? Letting us edit images just by typing. A month later, bam, we get Nano Banana Pro. Super powerful for things like infographics, but it was slow and pricey. And that's what brings us to today's big news: Nano Banana 2, which is trying to be the best of both worlds. Okay, so here's the really interesting part. The big trade-off Google's making here. Nano Banana 2 is now the default. It costs about half as much as the Pro version, and it spits out images in seconds. What Google is betting on is that for most of us, most of the time, that lightning speed and lower cost are way more important than getting the absolute tippy-top best quality on every single image. And hey, let's be super clear here. Good enough does not mean low quality. Not at all. This thing is still packed with serious pro-level features. It can still create those awesome infographics with text you can actually read, just like the Pro version. It's got the world knowledge from Google's other fast models, and it even supports 4K resolution. So it's really keeping all the key stuff, but it's built for speed. There's this quote from VentureBeat that just absolutely nails what's happening. We're moving past the, whoa, look at this cool picture phase. AI image generation is becoming more like a utility, a dependable piece of infrastructure that actual businesses can build on. So when you boil it all down, Google's bet is pretty simple. They believe the next wave of huge billion-dollar apps won't be built on the AI that makes the most perfect, beautiful piece of art. No, they'll be built on the AI that's fast enough and cheap enough to be used by millions of people all the time. And this whole shift towards practical, real-world uses, it's already sending massive shockwaves through the market, and sometimes in ways you would just never expect. Okay, so for this next part to make sense, we need to talk about something called COBOL. It's this ancient programming language, I'm talking from the 1970s, that, and you're not going to believe this, still runs huge chunks of our global banking systems. The massive problem, though, is that the number of people who actually know how to code in it is shrinking every year. It's a legendary nightmare in the tech world. So check this out. Anthropic, another big AI company, didn't launch some shiny new product. They didn't announce a brand new model. All they did was publish a blog post. And in it, they explained how their existing AI, Claude, could help solve this massive COBOL headache by translating all that old code into something modern. And the reaction from Wall Street? It was instantaneous and honestly kind of brutal. Just the suggestion that an AI that's already out there could fix this ancient, super expensive problem sent IBM stock plunging 13% in one day. We're talking a multi-billion-dollar hit from a blog post. So you gotta ask yourself why. Why did this happen? This wasn't exactly brand new information. AIs have this potential for a bit. So why did this specific blog post cause such a massive financial earthquake right now? Well, the answer brings us right back to our main theme today. The market is growing up. Investors aren't just chasing the hype of the next big model release anymore. They're finally starting to connect the dots and think about the real-world consequences. What today's AI can do to these giant established industries. Okay, so all this incredible, efficient software is great. But of course, it's totally useless if you don't have the horsepower to run it. And that brings us to the hardware, the brutal reality of the infrastructure race and the massive bottleneck that's forming. I mean, just take a look at Meta. They've been pouring money into building their own custom AI chips, right? To save cash in the long run. But they just had to scrap their most advanced version. So what's their plan B? They're going back to a simpler design, while at the same time spending billions buying chips from NVIDIA and AMD, and get this, even renting server time from their direct competitor, Google. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the need for speed isn't just about the software anymore, it's about the physical hardware. The pressure to get AI working at a massive scale right now is so intense that a company like Meta is basically saying, forget perfecting our own stuff for later, we need computing power today, and we'll pay anyone to get it. Okay, so we've got the whole industry pushing for more efficient models, and everyone's scrambling for more hardware. But where is this all heading? What's the end game? Well, Microsoft just gave us a pretty clear peek at what that future looks like. They've just announced something new called Copilot Tasks, and their description for it is so simple, but it's really powerful. It's a to-do list that does itself. Now, this isn't some complex tool for coders. This is an AI agent designed for all of us to help get rid of all that boring, repetitive stuff we have to do. And look how easy they're making it. Step 1, you just say what you want, in normal, everyday language. Step 2, the AI figures out all the steps needed to get it done. And then step 3, it just does it. It uses its own little virtual computer and browser to tick that task right off your list. And this is what ties everything we've talked about together. That big push for efficient models like Nano Banana 2, that mad dash for computer chips, it's all pointed at this one single goal, making AI so cheap and so fast that every one of us can have our own personal AI agent just humming along in the background, taking care of things for us. I mean, this isn't sci-fi anymore, right? This is actually becoming a real thing. Which brings the big question right back around to you. As this stuff gets cheaper and faster, what's the very first good enough task you're going to automate? What are you handing off to your personal AI agent first?